Y'all, let's talk about Shaboozey at the 2025 Met Gala, because his outfit alone had folks convinced he was already knee-deep in a Hollywood humiliation ritual. And honestly, it looked like proof of everything Katt Williams and Jaguar Wright have been calling out for years. See, over time, the Met Gala has moved further and further away from being about fashion. These days, it's more like a parade of who's next in line to sell their soul, all dressed up in couture. And let me tell you, the 2025 Met Gala did not disappoint in that department. The red carpet had people serving looks that screamed dandy drama, with a little touch of ritual sacrifice thrown in, like always. But before we dive into the humiliation ritual talk, don't forget, the Met Gala is also Hollywood's favorite place to pull their craziest fashion stunts and give us a sneak peek into whatever madness they've got brewing behind the scenes. Rihanna showed up like she was launching a new Fenty line and casually dropped baby bump number 3. Then Andre 3000 rolled through holding what looked like a whole grand piano on his back. I mean, it probably wasn't real, but still, that thing looked heavy. Like, sir, what were you doing with that giant trash bag? But one of the biggest shockers of the night was the debut of the new country rap sensation, Shaboozey. Let's just say his first Met Gala look was a lot. It definitely didn't say cowboy. It looked more like a confused flower girl at a haunted wedding. Or maybe someone who had won too many drinks and wandered into the wrong party. It was giving sass, not swag. It was giving, is he okay? People were left scratching their heads. He wore a cropped baby doll blazer stitched with turquoise beads and what looked like grandma's pearls. Pearls even matched his grill. And to top it off, a Sunday service-style hat. The whole vibe was less country icon and more welcome to the initiation. Social media lit up immediately, not just about the outfit, but about the strange energy surrounding it. Folks were quick to call out the pattern. Why is it always the up-and-coming black male artist that gets thrown into this feminization machine the second they start blowing up? Shaboozey is undeniably attractive, but they had him out here looking real questionable. One user on X, aka Twitter, hit the nail on the head asking, why does every black man in Hollywood get forced into feminization once they reach stardom? And what made that comment stand out even more? The user identifies as gay. Even they said, not even I would wear that. So we can stop pretending this was just a personal fashion choice. Because if you zoom in on Shaboozey's face that night, he didn't look confident or excited. He looked like he'd just seen something traumatic backstage. His face said, I don't want to be here. It was giving glitching, not glowing. This didn't feel like just another fashion risk. It felt like a textbook Hollywood humiliation ritual. You know the formula. Dress them up like a joke, parade them down the red carpet, laugh from behind the curtains, and then call it high fashion. We've seen this pattern too many times. A rising star finally gets their invite to the big league, and next thing you know, they're styled like a broken-down Sims character. Meanwhile, the actual theme of the event was about black influence in fashion. So why would Shaboozey, literally the only black cowboy rapper hybrid in the industry, choose this look? Something's not right. And it's not just the mix of perfume, desperation, and unspoken industry deals. Now, let's not even start on the comments under Shaboozey's own Instagram post. People went in. One follower straight up said, they got you dressed like a woman. Another added, every time a strong black man starts rising, they find a way to make him look feminine. Stay woke. Don't wear the dress. Someone else just commented, well, they got bro too. And then came the deeper conversations about Hollywood's obsession with these public humiliation rituals. One anonymous commenter put it like this: rapper Shaboozey appears to be the latest victim of a Hollywood humiliation ritual at the 2025 Met Gala, showing up in feminine clothes covered in pearls. This wasn't just a fashion moment, it was a message. A loud one. Welcome to Hollywood, where fame might cost you your dignity. And we're not just gonna let that slide without speaking on it. Now some folks want to act like this was just a typical Shaboozey look. Be serious. Someone online even tried to say it was just his stylist Anastasia, putting a Met Gala twist on his usual vibe. But unless usual now means visibly uncomfortable and obviously forced, we're not buying it. Not even on clearance. Shaboozey has been known for cowboy boots and rugged denim for years. Now suddenly he's draped in pearls, wearing a cropped blazer and a Sunday service hat like he's heading to Solange's wedding? No way. And let's be real, if this was just a creative choice, why does the defense sound so desperate? Someone even tried to drag Prince into the conversation. Like, really? Yes, Prince wore heels, but that's not the same. Prince owned his style from day one. He built his image on his terms, and he stuck with it. That was authentic artistry. This looked like Shaboozey got peer-pressured backstage into wearing something he never would have chosen on his own. This wasn't just a different outfit. It was a total 180 at the biggest fashion event of the year. And let's not forget, timing is everything. When someone pulls a move like this right after crossing into Hollywood's elite circle, it starts to feel like something more. Call it style exploration if you want, but a whole lot of people saw something else. They saw ritual energy. And Katt Williams has been ringing the alarm about this stuff for years. Remember what he said during that Club Shay Shay interview with Shannon Sharpe? He called out Kevin Hart directly, saying Kev swore he'd never wear a dress. And then one day, boom, he did. Tried to act like it was his own decision. But Katt said no, it wasn't. Not really. Because that decision came with $1 million deal and a smile behind it.
Told you he wasn't gonna wear no dress until they offered him the dress, and then he put it on. And what did he say after he wore it? I made my own decision, duh. But you didn't make it before they brought it up, did you? It's okay. All right.
But y'all, that's the whole point. These dudes aren't out here playing dress up for clout. They don't just wake up one day wanting to shock the headlines. What really happens is, they get pulled in, tested, humiliated, and then told it's just fashion. Nah, it's more like, wear this or stay broke. And when Katt Williams said that, suddenly it started to make a lot more sense. Ever since, folks have been paying closer attention. Because real talk, this happens to way more artists than anyone wants to admit. See, the problem isn't just about a weird outfit. It's about a pattern, a sick little checklist that seems to get ticked off the moment a black man gets too popular in the spotlight. First, it's the pearls. Then it's the agenda. And before you know it, boom, he's everywhere, but he's not really himself anymore. Now don't get it twisted, it's not about hating on feminine expression. The issue is that this doesn't feel like his expression. There's a difference between someone choosing softness and someone being stripped of their authenticity. So if you really believe Shaboozey was just trying something new, bless your sweet little heart. But a whole lot of people are seeing this for what it is, another Hollywood humiliation ritual. A twisted handshake dressed up in sequins and fake empowerment. And now the real question is, what exactly did he have to trade to earn that red carpet spotlight?
Chappelle, another great comedian, said that, you know, in the industry, they tried to make him wear a dress. Have you ever ran into that with scripts? And is there something that, you know, you wouldn't do, you know, for
I definitely haven't ran into to put on the dress. I mean, you know, you have to have boundaries. You have to have limits that you refuse to cross.
Because let's be honest, Shaboozey isn't the first, and he definitely won't be the last to hit the Hollywood scene looking like he lost a bet with his stylist. This whole push to feminize black men in the industry, it's been going on longer than some artists' entire careers. And baby, the receipts? They go way back. Whether they go along with it or push back, the outcome is usually messy. Let's talk about the men who've already gone through this so-called initiation, how it's flipped their careers, changed their public image, and in some cases, altered their entire vibe. Because once you wear that dress, Hollywood never lets you forget it.
But I'm working every day as if I think that's what
should happen.
is how it should be. And I'm choosing comedians that also write and work hard and don't steal other people's material. And I'm making sure that they all make $300,000 a season. And I'm making sure that they're not ever signed to me or my conglomerate. And that's why they're successful. No, you can work with me and still be an independent businessman, boss owner like you came in.
Right.
I don't need you to be subservient to me. That's those other guys that make you pay dues.
Y'all remember when Dave Chappelle started pulling back the curtain and speaking out about all the behind-the-scenes madness? He openly said that Hollywood kept trying to throw him in a dress for no reason. No storyline. No context. Just, hey, wear this. And not in a fun or playful way, just weird, forced energy. Got so bad that Dave had to walk away from a $50 million Comedy Central deal just to protect himself. He ghosted everyone and flew to Africa to get his head right, and probably reconnect with his ancestors too. Because when it gets that real, only the motherland can help you shake it off. Later on, during an interview with Oprah, Dave kept it all the way real. He said the pressure never stopped. What really stuck with him was when Martin Lawrence told him, "It's just a quick sketch, man. Throw on the dress." And Dave was like, "Nah, this is the last straw." It was never just about that one scene. It was about the system. A system that, in Dave's eyes, was slowly chipping away at the dignity of black men through comedy, through roles, through little jokes that hit way too close to home. And now people are seeing that exact same system play out in real time with Shaboozey. Playbook hasn't changed.
When I connect dots that maybe shouldn't be connected, I don't know. But certain dots, like when I see that they put every black man in the movies in a dress at some point in their career, I'll be connecting them down like, wow, all these brothers gotta wear a dress. This happened to me. I'm doing a movie with Martin.
Yeah.
The movie's going good. So I walk in the trailer. I'm like, man, this must be the wrong trailer because there's a dress in here. They come in. The writer comes in. I think he's the writer. He's like, Dave, listen, we got this hilarious scene where Martin's sneaking out of jail. So he disguises you as a and he put this dress on. And what? Nah, I'm not doing that. I don't feel comfortable with that.
And here's the thing, when Dave refused to play along, what happened next? He got labeled difficult, hard to work with. They tried to make him the problem. But Chappelle wasn't alone in standing his ground. He wasn't the only one who had to walk away from a fat paycheck to protect his peace and sanity. Even Denzel Washington had his moment early in his career. He turned down a major role that came with a big payday because it just didn't sit right with him. Why? Because legendary actor and Hollywood vet Sidney Poitier warned him that one bad role could change his whole career, his image, and how the world saw him. The role Denzel was offered was a mess. He would have played a black man falsely accused of raping a white woman. In the script, they tried to execute him by electric chair and by hanging, and somehow he survives both only to become a cult hero. Wild, right? And just to drive the point home, Denzel said that while he was auditioning, some of the people in the room, specifically Jewish producers, told him, "This is funny." And Denzel clapped back. You think it's funny? That's like putting a group of Jewish people in a room, making them think it's a shower, and then it turns out to be gas. They said, right? And Denzel replied, right? That ain't funny. He told them straight up. It's not funny to put a rope around my ***king neck. That moment sealed it. Denzel said, yeah, no thanks. He knew that kind of role would follow him forever, and he wasn't about to let that be his legacy.
I called Sidney, and I was sick because he told me to call him. I said, man, they offered me $600,000 to play the nigga they couldn't kill. And he said, I'm not going to tell you what to do. He said, I'm not going to tell you that, Denzel. He says, but I can tell you this. The first 2 or 3 or 4 films you do in this business will dictate how you're perceived in this business. Mm-hmm. So you make a decision. You know, he didn't tell me what to do, and I'll give him credit for that. And I turned it down, and 6 months later, I got Cry Freedom.
But here's the real kicker. Everything we just talked about with Denzel, that happened way back in the 80s. which just proves that Hollywood has been running this same game since the beginning of time. And get this, Denzel had to walk away from a $600,000 check. Y'all, that was serious money back then, especially for a rising actor who was just getting started. But just like Dave Chappelle, there's always a fat bag on the table. The catch? It usually comes at the cost of something you can't get back, like your peace of mind. Denzel took that seriously. He knew the roles you take early in your career can lock you into an image. One wrong move, and suddenly you're getting typecast, boxed in, and never taken seriously again. That's why folks are giving Shaboozey and others a serious side-eye when they switch up too quick, especially when they're still brand new in the game. Like, come on, this is the season to build your brand, not bend for it. That moment taught Denzel a lesson that stuck with him for life. He never let Hollywood define him. In fact, he said it himself. "What's the definition of a Hollywood actor?" Then he answered, "I don't know what Hollywood means. I'm from Mount Vernon, so I'm a Mount Vernon actor." That's how real he kept it. Now let's talk about Terrence Howard because his story is wild. This isn't just another Hollywood is weird moment. This man is out here risking it all to tell truths that have been simmering for years. Much like Dave and Denzel, Terrence says he too was asked to give something up. And when he said no, the industry slapped him with that same tired label, difficult, and pushed him out the door. But that was just the start. Terrence has been calling out Hollywood's dark side for a while, but what he recently said about Diddy, that took things to a whole new level. According to Terrence, Diddy reached out acting like he needed some acting lessons. So Terrence pulled up, thinking it was about the craft. But instead, things got weird. He said Diddy started acting shady, giving strange looks, crossing boundaries, and trying to flip the whole vibe. Terrence wasn't with it. He shut it all the way down and left.
Next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there, just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to.
And what's even crazier is, he's not the only one saying this. A whole lot of people over the years have hinted at the exact same thing when it comes to Diddy. Weird energy, Seuss behavior, and if you didn't go along with it, suddenly you were blackballed or mysteriously canceled. So for Terrence to come out and speak on this directly, that means he's done playing nice. And those who really know him, they'll tell you, Terrence isn't the type to chase clout.
Because for 4 years, I've been screaming, not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters. And the victim-making machine kept going on.
See, people used to think Terrence just disappeared from Hollywood because he was over it or tired of acting. But no, he left because he refused to be emasculated. They kept trying to put him in humiliating situations. And when he didn't comply, they hit him with all the usual labels: unpredictable, unstable, a liability. Y'all know how they do. Now yes, Terrence has had a messy past. Allegations, drama, headlines, he's been through it. But despite all that, he still got booked and busy. Hollywood kept giving him work. That is, until he started exposing the game. That's when everything changed. Because once you start calling out the humiliation ritual, suddenly you're a problem.
If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they can stay in place, what benefit is that if I lose my integrity? You got to go in as a principal.
And like the proud man he is, Terrence made it clear. He's not shrinking himself to make somebody else's story work. He said, if your script can't handle a real man standing in his truth, maybe your story is the problem, not the man. And he didn't stop there. On a podcast interview, Terrence opened up about how Hollywood pushes these so-called humiliation rituals on anyone trying to reach elite status. And one of the biggest ones? Forcing men to wear a dress. He said you can't join the club without giving up a part of yourself. And for a lot of artists, that's where things start to fall apart. Terrence believes this kind of psychological pressure is what's caused so many once promising stars to lose their identity, and sometimes even their lives. He pointed to Justin Bieber, saying the guy is now just a shell of who he used to be. 'Cause once you give up your dignity, they own you. They get inside your mind. And from there, they got you for life. And honestly, it all circles back to that age-old question from the Bible. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world but lose his soul?
Sorry.
No, I get it. So you see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card.
Now Terrence didn't hold back. He said plain and simple, black men are being demonized by this new formula. He believes most men today are being pushed to become more feminine, stripped of their power, and discouraged from showing strength. He said when white men show power, it's respected, but when a black man does it, seen as a threat. He put it like this: I'm not removing a few chromosomes just to fit into someone else's story. They need to expand their stories to allow a man to be a man and still appreciate a woman's beauty. And y'all, this ain't new. It's been happening for decades. Just take a look at Lil Nas X. Compare how he started to who he is now. He's a completely different person. Whether you like him or not, the shift is undeniable. And while this can affect any celebrity, let's be honest, it hits black male artists the hardest. No one is safe from the so-called humiliation ritual. Just look at Sam Smith's transformation. Pattern is clear. When people like Katt Williams and Jaguar Wright say that artists like Shaboozey are being initiated, they're not just running their mouths. From Dave Chappelle to Denzel Washington to Terrence Howard, the playbook hasn't changed. Hollywood keeps offering money, fame, red carpets, but always with a catch. And that catch is usually your soul. And now people are watching Shaboozey switch up fast, too fast. Right when he should be focused on building his legacy, it looks like he might be bending it instead. And that's the fear. That if he's not careful, he'll end up like so many others, talked about in past tense. Another talent lost to the system. Another sacrifice made for the sake of the vibe. And look, this isn't about tearing someone down. We want Shaboozey to win. We want all of them to win. But when people start giving up everything that made them special just to sit at a table full of snakes, that's when it gets disturbing. That's when folks have to speak up. 'Cause once you give it up, you don't get it back. This game is deeper than music, deeper than movies, spiritual. And once you're in, escaping ain't easy. So stay alert. Protect your energy. And stop idolizing these fast-track fame stories. 'Cause behind that spotlight is a shadow you do not want to walk through. And listen, this story, it's not just about Shaboozey. It's about all of them. If you've been paying attention, the signs have always been there. So keep your eyes open. Don't get caught slipping. But hey, that's what we're seeing. What do y'all think? Was that Met Gala outfit proof that Shaboozey sold his soul? Or is everybody just reaching? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read every single one of them. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And don't forget, more tea is always loading. So hit that follow and I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay woke, and keep your third eye open.